The work I do is around showing managers how to connect with employees about performance feedback, especially when it relates to the stickier behavior-based issues, which are harder to talk about. And I always start my sessions with the Johari window. And in the first quadrant of the Johari window, we have what's called the arena. And these are things that I know, and when I say I'm referring to myself as the employee. These are things that they know. And when I say they, I'm referring to my coworkers, my manager's boss. It could be vendors, it could be clients. And so these are things that are out in the open, these are things that are known, but there are also things that are in the arena that are unspoken. So for example, if I'm doing something that is not productive or disruptive and nobody has said anything to me, I think that it's probably okay because I haven't heard otherwise. The other part of the Johari window is the blind spot. So these are things that I don't know, I have no idea, but these are things that they know. I have a short story that illustrates the difference between the arena and the blind spot when we think about giving feedback to somebody. I had a manager who was having a conversation with an employee about how he treated his colleagues. He didn't treat his colleagues very well, but he was great with his clients. So his external clients were treated with kid gloves, and the way he treated his colleagues was basically treating them like second-class citizens. So there was a conversation. The conversation went something like this. Where a place for each relationship matters, and one of the things I need you to do is put just as much effort into building positive, constructive, collaborative work relationships with your colleagues as you have with your clients. Well, the employee came back and he said, I was wondering when you were going to say something to me about that. So that's an example of something that had been in the arena, but because the manager hadn't brought it up in a discussion, the employee was thinking, must be okay to treat people that way around here. Versus if it had been in the blind spot, the employee's response would have been, my goodness, I had no idea that I was coming across that way. I don't want to treat colleagues, in that manner. Let's talk about it because I certainly don't want to be coming across to people in that way. So another part of the Johari window is the facade. Now, the facade represents things that I know. Again, I'm the employee, but those are things that they don't know. So my colleagues, for example. So let's say that I'm new to an organization or I'm new to a team. There are certainly things that I know about myself, the way I work, some style issues, things that I know in terms of my job knowledge and skills. And usually the facade over time will shrink as people on the team get to know me. The other part of the Johari window is the unknown. So these are things that they don't know, and these are things that I don't know about myself. And sometimes we're trying to play amateur psychologist and think, why does the person do what they're doing? What makes them tick? There certainly are some tests that we do in the environment, such as some personality type tests, work style tests. But I also bring up the picture of Sigmund Freud here because we don't really want to play amateur psychologist. So let's dissolve him out. And when we think about giving people feedback, we want to make sure that we're shrinking down the blind spot. So shrinking down the things that people don't know, because if they don't know about it, then how can they work to develop a particular aspect of their performance? And then the goal becomes to grow the things that are in the arena, things that I know and things that they know. And certainly those items that are unspoken, we want to dissolve those items out.